Hello, Houston and surrounding areas. This is Charity Smith, Ms. Mogul, the founder of MoguLifeTV. We want to bring to you today a very important segment on home ownership. Today we have in our studio Bryan, and she's going to talk to us about home ownership primarily for women. We're going to talk about what it takes to get prepared for the home owning process, what the lender is looking for, how to prepare credit, how to use your residential home ownership for investment, and more. I'd like to introduce to you today Bryan. Thank you so much for joining us today, Melissa.
It's a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me, Charity. It's great to be here, especially on this segment targeted toward women. I know that we've had a few conversations and you have a huge heart for just really empowering women and getting them to make those big financial decisions that a lot of women reserve for whatever reason for later in life. And so it's really an honor to be here and talk to you about this today.
Oh, you're very gracious. Thank you so much. I want to talk, let's just jump right into it. I want to talk about why is it important for women to own a home, and how does that home ownership now segue into more financial freedom and stability and even retirement preparation?
Absolutely. Owning a home, it just makes financial sense,
It
Charity.
does.
You're building equity. I will tell you, the average home sales price in 2005 in the Houston area was $188,000. Today, that is $260,000.
That's huge.
That is huge, and it only is going to go up. Home prices are not going down. So when you buy a home, you're building equity. Not only that, you're saving money on taxes, and who wants to pay taxes?
Exactly.
So your taxable income is reduced by the amount of the mortgage interest that you pay. When you're paying rent, you're paying more than you would pay in your mortgage, and you're not getting any tax
You're giving
deduction.
money away.
Absolutely.
And who wants to do that?
Absolutely.
None of us.
Right.
So let's talk a little bit about now, why is it important? We talked about the equity in the home, and we also talked about taxes and how those write-offs put money back in our pocket, and we can use that now to begin to invest into retirement.
Absolutely.
Talk to us about that.
Okay, so when you're saving money on your taxes, you're not paying the IRS. Pay yourself. Put that money in your retirement. Let it grow.
And so with that growth in the retirement, let's just say that I'm 45 years old and I'm purchasing a home, or I've purchased a home and I haven't done anything with that equity yet. I can potentially take the equity from that home and put it now into my retirement, really building the quality of life in my later years by doing something really smart with my money now.
We have what's called a cash out refinance, where if you have at least 20% equity in your home, you're able to cash out. In a lot of cases, you may lower your interest rate, you may lower your monthly payment, and you get a check for the amount of equity that you have in the home. You can do anything you want. You can put your kids through college.
Good point.
You can put that money in your retirement. You can put that into investment property or other places where you're going to earn more than you would earn if you hadn't bought a home at all.
So let's talk about two things that really piqued my interest with that bit of information. So you talked about using that equity now to put our children in college. So that means that we don't necessarily have to tap into all of those student loans, which could really wreck the parents' credit if something happens with the kids, and we know it's possible. So that kind of minimizes that risk. And then we have the opportunity now to invest in investment properties. And that's something I'm really passionate about. So tell us about how we can use equity in our residential home to now put us in the position to be an investor.
So when you get your first investment loan, you're going to be required to put about 10 to 15% down, depending on your credit profile. Some people may not have that money readily available. They don't want to use their retirement. So where do they get it? If you have equity in your home, you've got it. You can go buy that piece of investment property.
And so with the purchase of that investment property, I have just now expanded my retirement portfolio to now include those properties. And also, I'm now creating a different kind of quality of life with residual and passive income. That's
right.
so important to us as women, because we wear so many hats. It's good not to have to worry about that.
Yes.
Absolutely. So now tell us about, how do we now begin the process? For some women, it's very daunting. If maybe they are a retiree, or maybe they're single, or maybe they're a divorcee, wherever you find yourself in life, let's just say that this is the first time you're launching out on your own. How do you prepare for that first step, and how do we make it less daunting for women?
Okay, I think that one challenge women have is they feel like they cannot maintain a home by themselves. And I want to tell women that there are home warranties. A home warranty is going to cost you $375. That's a basic home warranty. You can add on warranties for your appliances and everything else, so that if you had a catastrophic failure with your roof. If you had a problem that is keeping you now from home ownership, your warranty is going to take care of that for you. There are a lot of fears we have as women that we can't do it by ourselves. And I think the first step is just talking to a professional like yourself. Talk to your mortgage lender, talk to people who are in the industry about your options and about your fears, and let them let you know that there are other ways.
And so with that being said, we're at the perfect position. Let's jump right in there. What are some of the opportunities or tools that you have for first-time homeowners? How do we now position ourselves with our credit? And what are the first steps? So let's just talk about that. So let's just say that I need down payment assistance, or I'm a first-time homeowner, or I'm a veteran. What in the world is the first step?
Yes, definitely. So there are two things to think about when you're getting ready to buy a home. That's cash and credit. If you have a 600 middle FICO, we can finance you with 3.5% down on an FHA loan. FHA insures the loan, so you get a lower interest rate. It's a option that allows home ownership for many more people than if we only had conventional options. On a conventional loan, you're asked to put 5% down, and on a VA loan, there's no down payment at all.
Yeah, and you know, that's a really good point for some of our veterans who are now coming home and they've had a really rough and by the way, thank you for your service if you're a veteran. But I think that's an excellent premise to come back and now to be able to own a home if you're a veteran, to not have to worry about that down payment. You've served the country. Now we can help you by getting into a home with no money down.
Absolutely, that is correct. There's no mortgage insurance on a VA loan. There's no down payment on a VA loan. You do have to have a 600 middle FICO score. I can help you with that. If you're concerned that your credit may or may not be a 600, give me a call. I actually have a recorded webinar about things that help you establish your credit if you haven't done that, already. And it's just a really great option to have that home ownership, because what gives you more security when you're coming home than having that home that you can say is yours.
Absolutely. And by the way, for those of you who are really interested in that webinar, please give us a call at Mogul Life at 832-910-7093. Again, the number is 832-910-7093. We will put you in contact with Melissa, or you can connect on our website, charity.com. We have a link that's connected to Melissa, and we'll make sure you get that information. So we talked about, absolutely. So we talked about the veterans. What about the first-time homeowners? What's the first step? How do we now, let's just say most women think that if you have no credit at all, that's a good place to be. But I'm finding that's really kind of a detrimental place to be. So let's talk about that for those of you, those women rather, who have said cash only. I'm just going to use cash only. I'm not going to have any credit cards, etc. Talk to us about the pros and the cons of that with starting out in the homeowner process.
Absolutely. So one of the things that the lender wants to see is they want to see that you have an established credit history and that you're using credit responsibly. If you're not using credit, you don't have those on-time payments for the lender to look at and know that you're going to make your mortgage payments on time. So when I get credit profiles that don't have utilization of credit, often those people are not qualified right now. And so my advice to them is to go out and get a store credit card, get a secured credit card even, make your payments on time for 2 and 3 months. You're gonna see your score come up 50, 100 points, and you're gonna be ready. But you have to use some credit.
And it's important too to get this information from professionals like you who are in the industry with a finance background, no less, an MBA. And so it's important to get this information before you just go out there and get the credit card. Talk to somebody about the impact of that and how to use it responsibly, and then chart a course for it.
Absolutely.
So what's the next step? So now we have the credit score that we need. How do we now begin preparing? You talked about FHA possibly having 3 to 3.5% down for FHA, and then 5% down for conventional. How do we prepare for that? If we want to purchase, let's just say, an entry-level home at $180,000, how much do we need to have in the bank to begin that process?
Okay, that's an excellent question. And regardless of the loan product, I do recommend that you have at least $5,000 ready. The lender can help you some with closing costs. There are various down payment assistance programs if you qualify based on your income, based on your credit. I actually have a spreadsheet that I can send that compares the different programs that may be available depending on credit score and things like that. Once you have $5,000 in the bank, ideally $10,000, we're ready to start talking. So you want to have that. If you have more, that's even better. The lower the loan to value, the lower your mortgage interest is. If you are getting a product that does require a mortgage interest, you may be able to put more down to afford more home at the same payment. So it just depends on your specific situations. What are your financial goals? What are you trying to do? But $5,000 is a minimum starting point. You're going to have closing costs. You're going to have appraisal. You're going to have inspections. There's going to be some costs associated with getting into that home. But I can tell you, Charity, if you're looking at the difference between renewing your lease or moving somewhere and putting down first and last month's rent, $5,000 is a very small jump from what you're going to pay anyway.
And it's yours.
Absolutely.
And that's the thing we really want to drive home. That lease that you're renewing at the end of the month or the term, whatever that is, you're not benefiting from that.
No.
But when you sacrifice and you have a strategy together and you put that first time homeowner's down payment down there, what in the world is the gratification like for that?
Absolutely.
So that's really what we want to encourage women to please consider all of the benefits there are in owning a home. It's not just for you, but your family benefits, your quality of life benefits as well. So talk to us now. We have the credit that we kind of have a ballpark figure of what the score should be, what the down payment amount should be. Now let's talk about cash to closing. What are we looking at? Because there are so many things that can come up in this process with inspections, with warranties, you name it, it can come up. So kind of how do we need to look at the cash to close process or stage?
Okay, that is very dependent on the individual person. What I try to do is work with them. If they say I have $5,000, then I try to find out how can we get you a home with the cash that you already have. If they say I have $10,000, how can we get you the home you want with the cash that you have? I try to work with everybody. It really just depends on the situation. On appraisal, you're looking at $400 to $500. Inspection, you're looking at about $350. That's it. That's all you have to pay out of pocket. You do put down earnest money. That's credited back to you at the end of closing. Most people are putting down 1%. Charity, you're really the expert on what we pay to write that contract to show the seller that, hey, we're serious about buying this home. Usually it's 1%. I've seen some come in and they're a little bit less. But $2,000 out of pocket, the lender still is going to want to know that you have cash to close
in hand.
and what are called reserves. Okay, reserves are a number of monthly payments that you have in savings, retirement, checking accounts, somewhere else, that if something were to happen, you can pay this loan for a number of months. That's all going to depend on your credit. So unfortunately, it's hard to give just a hard and fast number. Every situation is so individual. But I like to say $5,000 bare minimum. You got $5,000, we're ready to start talking, unless you're one of these people who are able to qualify for these programs, and there's so many out there. So don't ever think, well, I only have $1,000. Can I buy a home? You very well may be able to, but you got to take that first step and give us a call. So now let's make this all pretty and put a pretty bow on it. So we have the idea of what the credit score should be. We have an idea of what the down payment should be. And let's just say we need reserves, miscellaneous, $1,000 to $2,000. So we're looking at right around the $5,000 to $7,000, or let's say $5,000 to $10,000 realistically to get into a home. But is that doable? Absolutely. Yes.
It's absolutely doable. And all you have to do is contact you to find out how doable that is.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. So now, Melissa, if you could leave us with a tidbit in closing, what would be a pearl of wisdom that you would leave for women who are considering home ownership or who are looking now to maximize the equity in their home? What would be just one pearl of wisdom you could leave before we go?
The pearl of wisdom that I would leave with every woman who is paying rent now is you have to have somewhere to live. Make it your own home. Give us a call. Let us help you. The worst thing that can happen is you know what you need to do to get there.
I couldn't have said it better myself. So, Melissa, thank you again for joining us today, and I appreciate you so much for coming out today. And for all of you who are looking for a home, MoguLifeTV is not just a media outlet. We are also a residential real estate firm. So for all of you who are looking to buy or sell a home in the Houston market, give us a call, 832-910-7093. You'll have the pleasure of speaking to me or one of my wonderful team members, and then we're going to connect you with Melissa to get you prepared for that home loan. So give us a call again at 832-910-7093. And before we close, ladies, remember this if you don't remember anything else. You have got to get in the game. And the best way to do that is to own your home. Own a piece of America. And then once you own that home, the possibilities are endless. You just need the information. And if you contact us, we'll get you the information. Thank you again for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me, Charity.
And we're going to bring her back because we really want to talk about some of the investment opportunities that are available for women as well. So at this point, we're going to close it out. Thank you, Melissa. Thank you for joining us, and we'll be right back.